How's it going? Today we're going to be tuning cars. So I've wondered this many times, I have to always look it up. So that's what I'm doing. We're just I'm gonna quickly go through and just say what everything does, and then I'll do a quick lap and see what I can change to make this better. Okay, so here we're looking at the power lock rate. This is the percentage of which the rear wheels are locked together. So if we have a car that is understeering, for instance, we would raise this up, which will make it steer a bit more in corners. If we had a car that was oversteering, such as this car here, we would lower this down. But this is only for under power. And now if we're like spinning out when we're off power going around a corner, which this is where the coast lock rate comes into play. The lower we have this, the more the car is going to want to steer. So if you have a car that is understeering, you would lower it down. If you had a car that was oversteering, you would raise it up. And now this preload torque doesn't even matter. And then of course final drive, that's just final drive. I mean, it's that simple. Okay, then we come to suspension. So here, if we look at the anti-roll spring rate, if we have a car that is understeering, we'll raise this up, and vice versa. If we had a car that was oversteering, we would put it down. So yet again, with understeering and oversteering, this is all that this is. So bump dampening, which is the amount of resistance when the springs are being compressed. So if we have a car that is, for instance, oversteering, we would actually want to make this go up. So making this go up will, since it's on the front won't compress quite as much, which will keep weight off the front wheels. So it won't grip as much, and it hopefully won't steer as much. And then vice versa, actually, for the rear. If we want it to stop oversteering, we don't want the rear to go up as much, because that's going to put weight on the front wheels. So therefore, rebound dampening, which is the resistance when suspension is being extended, we would increase this so that the back end doesn't go up, which will make the front end go down and put more weight on the front, which will just give you your front tires more grip and make you steer more. So for understeering, we would actually want to make the rebound dampening increase, which is the resistance when suspension is extending. So we want this to increase, so that means that the front end won't go up as much, and it will keep more weight on the front. You can also decrease the bump dampening a bit, but that's just not what you normally do. You normally just make things go up or down, but you can make that go down, which will make the suspension compress more, so there's less resistance when compressing. So you make this go up, so the suspension won't extend and it'll keep more weight on the front. And then so if we're understeering, we want to get weight off the rear. So therefore, we don't want it to compress. We want to increase this so the back end won't want to compress, and our only choice is to extend. So if you're under power, normally the back end will go down further. But if you do this, probably won't. With the spring height, if you have a car that is oversteering, we're going to increase the front. So that means the front will sit higher, which will make weight transfer to the rear wheels. Vice versa, if we have a car that's understeering, which means there's more weight on the rear, we will increase the rear to put more weight on the front, and this is called a rake, which is the angle of your car. And then we move on to camber. I'm only going to go to camber, that's as far as we're going here. Just simple explanation. So when turning, you want more camber for more grip. There's obviously a point where you have too much camber, so you just got to find the happy medium by playing around with it. But if you have your front wheels cambered, it will give your front wheels more grip in the corner compared if you had them straight. But also, the more camber you have, the less grip you have on a straight. So if you have a car that's understeery, you want to increase camber. If you have a car that's oversteery, you want to decrease camber. But with the rear wheels, we want them to grip on the straight. So for the rear wheels, we're going to have their camber set to 0 degrees, really. So then they have the most, like the maximum amount of traction when you put power down. So with the rear spring rate, this will actually make the car, the higher you have this for the rear, the more oversteer it's going to be. Vice versa, the less you have the spring stiffness, the more understeer it's going to be. So now we're going to do a lap in this stock car and just see how it goes. I've got a control hooked up. So here we are, just loading to the short course trial, which is in the pit lanes. And we're going to see what time this gets and see what we can improve it. Yeah. This car's got quite a lot of power. Okay, so it's actually feeling quite understeering, under power, as you saw there. It's just understeering, trying to get around that corner. I mean, when it's out of power, sorry, it's understeering. It's getting used to this amount of power. But, being a second is not race, I'm struggling with the brakes here. Probably in the wrong gear as well, but you know, that's fine. So 107. It's interesting that's understeering. So what I'm going to do, which is the quickest way to get rid of understeer, is I'm actually just going to add some rate. So just doing that alone should have done a bit, but I'm just going to go to a bit of an extreme here to see if we can really feel it when we're out there. Also going to increase the rear sway bar. And now we can try that. Okay, so here we are doing the short course again. Going to try it with these and these modifications and see if I can do any better. Didn't damage second that time. So you can already see it rotating more there. I kind of laid off the throttle at the end. I'm still a bit heavy on the brakes, but you know. So be it. Didn't go on the grass on that corner, so I can definitely already see it. Under power, I'm noticing that I'm losing a lot of turning. So I can definitely still change my... I'm struggling to think right now. So we did actually do better, and that is definitely the car. Because I did not drive good. So yeah, just there alone, what, I saved about a second. That's just the power of it. If I'm understeering over power, that means the back end is compressing. Which means I could go ahead and increase the rear bump dampening to keep that back end from compressing too much. But yeah, no, that's it. That's basics of tuning suspension. Thanks for watching. My name's Nuku. See you next time.